Hey guys, Probable1701 here, and today on It's Armageddon we are going to be looking at 7th Doctor stories. Now this was an idea suggested by a fellow Doctor Who YouTuber, Paul. In the comments he had mentioned kind of wanting me to do the Doctors in my It's Armageddon series, in which 5 stories from each Doctor I think I would save, if I could only save 5 stories. That sounded like a really good idea, so I decided to do a series on that. And we're up to the 7th Doctor at this point, Sylvester McCoy. And these are the 5 stories that I would say from Sylvester McCoy's era as the Doctor, not counting the TV movie, just looking at his 3 seasons in the role. And I am looking strictly at TV show. I've never heard any of the Big Finish audio stuff, so I'm just looking at the 12 stories to make up his run. Now, I haven't seen 3 of his stories. I haven't seen Delta yet. I haven't seen Paradise yet. Looking forward to season 24 coming in. And I have not seen Happiness Patrol, which is one I really want to see because it sounds so interesting. So I will just be looking at the stories I've seen in this case. And number 1 on the list is Dragonfire. I'm trying to be objective here. I do love Dragonfire a lot. You guys have heard me talk about Dragonfire before. But I do think even objectively it's a good one to save. I think it's nice to have one from season 24. It's Ace's introduction. I like the villain in it. The ice dude, he's cool. I really like him. I like the actual creature in it with the crystal in its head. I think it's realized really well on screen, especially for a classic Who monster. It looks really well done. I like the world and the set design. Looks really good on it. I like having Glitz back. I really like Glitz, so it's really nice to see him again. I really enjoy him as a character, so it's nice to have him back. And to have him interacting with a different Doctor is pretty neat. The weak points to the story, the cliffhanger, I think, to episode 2, I believe it is, when he's hanging from his umbrella. It's a literal cliffhanger, and yes, it is silly because they didn't give a good reason why he's doing it. If they had done some of the original ideas for the script, it would have worked better. And then McCoy, some of his performances, like when he's slip-sliding around everywhere, even though nobody else is slip-sliding around everywhere, it's a little silly. But it's a good story, and I definitely think it's one worth saving. Number 2 on the list is Remembrance. I do like Remembrance a lot. It's a really good Dalek story. All the 80s Dalek stories are really good stories. While I do find Remembrance a tad overrated, and I do have some issues with it, sometimes the Daleks look like they're remote controlled, running around, especially right at the beginning when that Dalek first comes out. It doesn't look like a living thing. It looks like a prop being controlled. The little girl in it, I don't really care for, and how she's actually involved with the plot. That little children's theme tune that plays whenever she shows up gets very grating very fast. But it's a very solid story. Sylvester McCoy is great in it. This is the first time we really see Chessmaster's 7th Doctor, and that speech he gives to Davros at the end is phenomenal. And you realize just how much he's manipulated the situation. This is the first time we've really seen this Doctor do this. So it's a really great moment. Plus Ace gets some really good scenes in it, like when she gets to beat up the Dalek. Really good story. Number 3 on the list is Ghostlight. Part of this, again, is subjective. I really like Ghostlight. Ghostlight is just a fascinating story. It's dripping with atmosphere. So much atmosphere. I love the location work in that old, like, Victorian-style house. It's really nice. I love, again, McCoy in this one is really good. Very much the darker Doctor at this point. Great character development for Ace, and Sophie does a great job with this. While I get this one's a little hard to follow, there's a lot going on in it. And it's not flawless. I do hate that the 2 ladies got turned to stone. That kind of sucked. I wish he could have saved them. But I do think it's just such a good piece. It's a fascinating watch. I feel like it would be a crime to lose Ghostlight. It's such an interesting story. I mean, it's a very unusual story for Doctor Who, but I think it works really well. I have a strong love for it. It's one of my favorite 7th Doctor stories. Number 4 is Curse of Fenric, which I do think is overrated, but I also still think is essential Doctor Who watching. Again, great development for Ace in this one. Again, McCoy is great in this one. I like seeing Nick Parsons in this one. I don't like the way his death is done in the episode. I wish he'd lived longer. His death feels kind of meaningless and pointless, which I don't like. I thought the 2 girls who became, the vampires in it, hemivores or whatever, I thought they were pretty neat, watching them change. They played the kind of ditzy girl part well, and then they played the hemivore part really well. That scene when they drag the one soldier in there and they're like, "Come play with us." I'm like, That's a well-directed scene. The scene at the church when they're being attacked by him is really well done. It really is good. And once again, seeing McCoy being his chess master self, where he's steps ahead of everybody. Again, while I don't think it's like top 10 classic Doctor Who, I do think it is essential Doctor Who watching. And I put number 5, I went with Survival. I do like Survival a lot. I think this is Anthony Ainley's best performance as the Master. I think they finally let him kind of play the Master the way he wanted, where he's not having to be so caricaturish. He actually does feel like he does a really solid performance here, which I really enjoy. The interactions with him and McCoy are great, because this is the only story we have with the Master and the Seventh Doctor, and I just feel like the Master and the Seventh Doctor would fit so well together. I would have loved to have seen more stories with them, seeing this kind of chess master, dark Doctor going up against the Master. There's so much potential to be done there. Like, I'd love to see McCoy's Doctor meet up with the War Master, Derek's Master. I would love to see a battle of the wits between those two, because I think that would be amazing. But I really like this story. Again, the kind of cat people design is unfortunate. Their outfits look kind of Puss in Boots silly. But the story's really solid. And again, more character development for Ace. Ace really did get Ace was done really well by the original series, and is very much, I think, a template for Rose, a couple decades later. So it's a really good story, and that speech at the end is a great way to sign off Classic Who. So those are the 5 stories I would save. What 5 stories would you save if you could only save 5 Seventh Doctor stories from being destroyed by Armageddon? And let me know what you think of my list, and let me know what your list would be. Other things to do, click the like button, click the subscribe button, click the bell for notifications, so you never miss out on a new video. I also have a Patreon. There's a link to that in the description below. If you would like to become one of my patrons and contribute to what I do, I would certainly appreciate that. There's several different tiers there to pick from. Most importantly, though, stay safe out there, and thank you for watching.